Hello everybody, welcome back to Ash's Glitter Factory. Today I'm reading chapter 19 from the Grimrose Girls book. Chapter 19 is called Ella. It didn't matter how many times Ella had been to the library, it was always like seeing it for the first time. All the shelves are filled with books, settled in mahogany shelves. Thick carpets cover the floors with plenty of tables to study, and the occasional cushy chair waited in the wings for an impromptu naps. It was Ella's favorite part of the castle, with its gigantic glass windows that filtered in the light for the room. In spring, the flowers on the ivy stands that covered some of the garden walls with blossom, covering the balcony in a beautiful wall of red and yellow roses. When Ella saw the Grimrose castle for the first time, she thought it was so beautiful she couldn't hold back her tears. She felt silly standing in the hall among the paintings, her eyes pooling with water and awe. She found Yuki and Rory on the third floor, metaphosphiles nowhere to be seen, likely tormenting some of the first-year students who were giggling downstairs. Rory lay with her head on the table, drool coming out of her mouth. "You're here," Yuki exclaimed when Ella came in. "All right," Rory shouted, lifting her head from the table, eyes still slightly unfocused. "I'm awake. It was only a nap. You were drooling all over the mahogany." "Lies!" Ella pointed to the tiny pool where her head had been resting. "Fight me," Rory demanded. Ella sighed, sitting down on the table where Rory cleaned it using the sleeve of her school uniform blazer. "I don't have much time," Ella said. "What happened?" Rory and Yuki exchanged looks, neither of them saying anything. "You say it," Rory said, grinning. "I found a note inside the book," Yuki said. "And?" Rory asked, her voice teasing. "It was written on the welcoming note." "And?" Rory said, eyebrows cocking, and suddenly Yuki said, "Rory's right, the book is important." "Thank you," Rory said. With that said, "Yeah, I think Irene might have been murdered." The word dropped like a stone, the mood changing considerably. Yuki handed her the note, and Ella frowned at the words. "It sounds like blackmail," Ella said. Rory frowned. "That's a bit of a jump in the logic." "If someone's promising her the truth," Ella replied, "then Ari must have talked to them before. This isn't a way to start a conversation. It's a way to end it," Yuki said, catching on to Ella's meaning. Wasn't that what Ella had been trying to prove? That Ari hadn't simply left, that her death hadn't been an unhappy accident or purposely done by her own hand? "There's more," Rory said, taking out the sheet of paper and handing it to Ella. Ella read it over. There's a few names she knew and others she didn't recognize. "I'm one of them." One of who? One of what? And what did the list mean? Ella knew their names, but she wasn't sure about the rest. Were they all students? "We don't get it," Rory continued. "The list, the note. There's something here, obviously, but what was Irene trying to say?" Ella furrowed her brows. "Can I see the book?" Yuki nodded, pushing it across the table. Yuki turned the pages, seeing Irene's notes. Though they were so tiny and almost illegible, purposely hard to read. She tapped the table with her left hand, almost unconsciously, as she examined the book. The book didn't fit with the rest of Ari. It didn't fit with the rest of school. If the book was somehow related to Irene's death, Ella wouldn't be giving up, not until she figured out what exactly had happened. Ella went back to the beginning. She knew all these tales too well, but she liked them, or the happy versions of them. Eleanor was a sucker for a happy ending. "No need to be judgmental," she muttered. "What?" Rory asked across the hill. "Nothing," Ella replied, talking to myself. "I know most of these already." Ella started on Cinderella. There wasn't a lot of Irene's notes on it. In fact, the only parts that were underlined were simple facts of life. Cinderella worked hard. Cinderella had a cruel stepmother and 2 nasty stepsisters. She worked all day in the house. People wouldn't let her out. She wanted to go to the ball. She went on. Sleeping Beauty. Neglectful parents. Gave up their daughter to be raised by someone else. Dottie did not know who she really was. Sleeps forever. Snow White. Father died. Stepmother stepped in to take care of child. Grew resentful of child's success. All of these were meant to be something. They had to be clues, like some kind of safe. Tap in the right combination and it would give up all the secrets. Ella just had to find the password. Beauty and the Beast was completely devoid of any annotation, as well as some of the others, but when Ella got to the Little Mermaid, she realized there was a note from Ari in the margins. Ari's own name. A shiver ran up Ella's spine, making her body tremble. She wanted to close the book and pretend it never existed. There was a strange vibration coming from it, a warning for them not to pick it up because it would contain secrets they couldn't bear. "Can I see the list again?" Ella asked, trying to get her voice under control, trying not to make it seem like she needed something. She didn't know. She couldn't know. Ella had an excellent memory for details. Sometimes her anxiety made anything impossible to forget. And this time, she was glad for it as it worked in her favor. She went back to the other tales, picking up Ari's list, and at last, when she got to the tale of the Little Mermaid, Ella stopped once again. "I'm one of them." She knew how the original tale ended. Ella remembered it because it was tragic. The Little Mermaid, she was told she had to kill the prince to get her legs permanently. If not, every step was like walking on broken glass, pins and needles punching her skin. She couldn't do it, so she turned back in the sea foam. The Little Mermaid drowned herself so she could spare pain to her beloved. Ella's heart started beating faster and skipped back to the tale she'd known since she was a child. She was looking for happy endings, stories where Cinderella got her princess, Sleeping Beauty woke up, but they weren't in this book. Every single one of these tales ended in death or tragedy. She shook her head, pushing the book aside, fingers trembling. She dropped the list as she was holding. "Ella?" Yuki asked, frowning. "Are you all right?" Ella shook her head ever so slightly. She didn't know if she could say more. She didn't know if she wanted to, and yet Irene had known it too. "What is it?" Rory asked, concern in her voice. "You're going to think I'm crazy," Ella whispered. Yuki narrowed her eyes. "If you have a theory..." Ella took a breath. "Irene made the list because the book is..." Ella couldn't finish the sentence that way, so she tried something else. "I think the book predicted her death." that is the end of chapter 19. I hope you enjoyed this video. Bye!